Cambridge Insider Podcast time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. We are fully into fall in the US. Meg, you guys have fall in Florida? Is that a thing?
We have fall when everybody is so excited not to have to wear hats and sunshades and not to perspire when you're outside. It's 80 something is refreshing to us. That's fall.
Okay. So it's 80 something in Florida. It's just about reached 50 if we're fortunate in the Northeast, but it is fall and we've just had Halloween, which I'm sure was enjoyed by everybody across the country and across the world. It's become such a international celebration, I suppose, of family and sweets and good things. So to all of our listeners, if you did enjoy Halloween, we're very excited for you. Hopefully, if you're a student listening, you can enjoy Halloween in the coming years in the United States of America. So today's episode, really excited to be talking about this. This is an article that we wait for every year to be released by US News and World Report. They generally are known for releasing the top universities, the list of the top universities in the US. But one of the articles that I look forward to every year is the top global universities article that they release, where they rank the top global universities. Meg, your thoughts just sort of off the bat about the article and just sort of what you read. We'll make sure that executive producer Dean posts that on the show notes as well.
Well, it was exciting to see that 8 out of the 10 top global universities, according to US News, are in the United States, include Harvard, MIT, Stanford, many of our elite schools. And it was also interesting to see how all of this is calculated. And it starts with academia survey that's given to the top schools. And then it filters onto there with a whole different set of criteria. And the criteria is based a lot on research. That's a big part of it. And it's all ranked. And then excitingly, it enables students to be able to go in and check out the different universities, but also different programs within the universities and how they hold up according to this specific ranking. So as a tool, as part of your process, it's really informative. And it's also exciting because it's based on solid data, solid research. The rubric is fully disclaimed, so you know exactly that this isn't just a opinion piece. This is like highly researched.
Absolutely. It certainly does add a little bit more objectivity to it, and I think that's been a focus the past couple of years, specifically in the US education sort of arena, is, to make it, I suppose, a little bit more objective. My take on this is, regardless of who's number 1 and who's number 10, I think all of the schools on that list, and many others, but specifically on that list, are top institutions. I think that's important to remember. So not to necessarily lose sleep over if you're number 10 or number 2, but to know that they are top institutions. And specifically for us in the international education arena, to understand that these are highly sought after schools across the world. People recognize the Harvards and the MITs and the Princetons of the world. And, whether you agree with them being number 1 or number 2 or number 3, these are sought after institutions, and these are a major selling point that continue to make the US very likely the most sought after international education destination.
Yes, that is true. And it's very important for many students, particularly from Asia, who come to the United States. They're often coming as a long-term plan. They're coming with matriculation into an excellent college as their ultimate goal. So for our schools that we work with and our high schools that we work with, it's really important to think, okay, if I know that this is one of the motivating forces in a student coming here, especially from the largest sending bodies, like 70-something% are coming from China itself, then as a school, what am I doing to promote the college experience, to really educate these children, not only on college prep and getting into these colleges, but about the colleges themselves. Are there numerous students, college representatives coming for interviews frequently? Am I taking students around the country or around the region on college tours? How am I making this accessible to our students? Because that's something that all students want, and particularly international students who didn't have the access to that before.
100%. Couldn't agree more. The great thing, I think, for our US high school partners that are listening to this is that the US university scene is a selling point that's there already. There's nothing you really have to do as a school to be able to talk about and access that selling point, but it's about how well can you utilize that. So an example, and it pertains to what Meg just said, but an example is I have a school, I'm not going to mention names now, extremely successful in the international arena, specifically because they do, and they're a small school, so take it within context, but with they specifically with their senior class do individualized college tours. So they would identify, a student's top couple of universities, and this pertains to the international students, and do individualized college tours where their international student coordinator and college counselor goes with the student. Sometimes they fly, sometimes they road trip, sometimes they take a train, and they visit the 3 or 4 sort of top universities that the student wants to attend, and they're able to talk through it, and they're able to go and have the whole visiting experience, and they're able to, make an evaluation, make a judgment on that, get that experience of how it feels like. And that itself has been such a massive selling point for the school, the fact that they do offer these individualized tours. Now, some schools I'm sure are going to be listening and saying, Stephen, we don't have the money, we don't have the time, we don't have the ABC. You don't necessarily have to go that far, but understand that you have at your fingertips this great selling point of the top universities in the world. How are you utilizing it to make your international program more accessible and to make your international program better, something that students want to come to because they know they have access to great universities. So it's something for schools certainly to think about.
It's true. And that could be a starting point. Even if you can't fulfill that particular goal, there's so many creative ways to be able to develop that process. Another thing that I thought was really interesting in this article is that by breaking it down into subjects also, and also different countries of the world, the top universities within this system, students are able to look not only at the highest ranked universities, but the rankings of the universities if they're particularly interested. And when you're talking about the top global universities, then you're often talking about students who aspire to be the top student, right? So it's really interesting that now it's so much easier because of this resource to really hone in to exactly what you want to do, because so many of us are able to go in this current world to so many different places. And that's the beauty of diversity and international education, is that we can all benefit from each other. And now we have the resources to really find out how to, or our students have the ability to really find out how to reach their highest potential, if that's what they're
100%,
possible to
100%. And, I think on that, a note to our students as well. And, number one, you need to be, and I know many of our students are, but you need to be actively thinking about and planning, if you do aspire to get into some of these top colleges or whatever your college of choice might be. It might not be on this list, and that's okay. We have for many years at Cambridge tried to educate many of our families that we work with that a top 10 college versus a top 50 college, there's not a massive difference there. These are all great schools, but there is a matter of planning. There is a matter of making sure that you set those goals. And, Cambridge Network has the resources for you to be able to do that in partnership, of course, with our schools and your college counselors. That's an important resource, but reach out to your student development manager, reach out to your Cambridge Network team to see how can we access more resources? What should we be doing? Who could we get in touch with that's going to help us achieve some of these goals that we have? So that's first and foremost. I think importantly as well, considering, and I'm going to tread carefully with what I say now, but considering what we've been through in the US for the past couple of years, this is an important sort of milestone to sort of reassert the influence that the US has as an international education destination. You know, the US News and World Report is probably one of the top two, you know, if not top sort of rated objective piece of writing about top universities in the world. And they are ranking all of these US colleges really highly and saying a lot of good things about them. And I think this is an important part of sort of getting back to making sure that the US remains that destination, because there are challenges out there. There are great education options all over the world that are very cost effective and offer a lot of quality. This, I think, reasserts a little bit of why students specifically and families want to come to this country. And part of that is alive and well. And I think that's good to see from my side, because it's been a challenging couple of years. Let's just put it like that.
And interesting, along that point, we have the highest number. The United States has the highest number. It also breaks it down into the top 5 countries with the most amount. I mean, you have to put this into the idea of how large these countries are, et cetera. We're a large country. The United States has 271 colleges represented. China has 253 colleges represented. Japan 93, the UK 89, and Germany 70. So it's very diverse, and then it goes into country after country. But it's really interesting to see how expansive that is.
Absolutely. Fascinating stuff. We'll make sure that our executive producer, Dean, as always, posts this article for us on the show notes. And any other links that we do come across, we'll make sure to put them up there. But as always, if you're reading through this, you need a little bit of extra guidance, feel free to reach out to your Cambridge representatives. If you're a school official that's listening, think a little bit about your program and how are we making this clear? How are we making this pathway? How are we making these goals attainable for our students that come here? How are we using the selling point to our advantage at our program? Meg, I appreciate you, as always, joining us. This has been episode number 2 for you. Any final thoughts? I like this article. It's a positive, feel-good article. Again, it's a reassertion of what's happening, but any final thoughts from your side?
I'm always excited to see this list, and I was particularly excited to dig deeper and figure out how it's all put together and see the transparency behind it, when so much that's presented as news is actually opinion these days. So it's great to see that this is a hardcore resource for students all over the world.
Absolutely. To all of our listeners, we appreciate you tuning in. As always, we'll catch you around the next episode. Bye-bye, everybody.